The reason we're so enthusiastic about running next year is we have a real record to run on. Mondami and Democrats want to talk about affordability? We love that subject. We love it. Look at the facts. I brought some this morning. It's the Republicans who are working every day to make life more affordable for working families. And it's not a talking point for us. We are delivering. After 4 long years of skyrocketing prices under the Biden administration, we had to take over. You don't flip a switch and reverse that overnight. It takes a while to work those policies out of the system and to get the new ones in. President Trump and Republicans are delivering results for the American people that they can see and feel.
There you have it. The Trump administration is falling all over itself, trying to deflect blame, something it does very expertly. It's good at a few things, and that's one of them. And trying to pull attention away from Trump's troubled economy. But even Fox News having a hard time explaining why prices are so high.
Well, it's an admission that the tariffs were taxes, which the argument that the administration has been making since they got into office was this is going to be a boon for you, and the American public is saying, actually, no, I go to the grocery store and everything is more expensive. I think that the president and the administration at large has had a really bad couple of weeks. There were the electoral losses. On top of it, the waffling on whether he thinks affordability matters or not. And I thought his interview with Laura Ingraham, there were a couple stumbles that have really hurt him, not only on the economic front, dismissing people's concerns, but on H-1B visas, for instance, the Epstein files issue coming up as well. And you see the base of the party, the Marjorie Taylor Greenes of the world, up to the more moderate folks that signed on because they thought that he was going to give them relief at the grocery store, all saying no to this. He's minus 15 on handling the economy at this point. And the Democrats proved that last Tuesday night or 2 Tuesdays ago, that they're more trusted on who can keep your money in your pocket and maybe even get you some more.
Yep, Jessica Boris Karloff Tarlov is correct on this one. Repealing the tariffs to fix the economy is proof that the tariffs were a tax on the American people that the Trump administration said wasn't a tax. Of course, we all knew it was a tax. They knew it was a tax. They pretending they didn't think it was a tax by attacking other people. But those attacks don't affect the fact that it's a tax. And they're removing it now to try to make it less of a tax on us. And look, Trump can say whatever he likes. I'll say stuff that I just make up. I'm gonna say whatever I want, okay? I love to say stuff. A lot of people say I'm one of the best at saying things. But people aren't stupid. I mean, some are. A lot of them are. But not everybody. Not everybody's stupid. Everybody knows this is Trump's mess. He's building a golden ballroom while people are struggling to put food on the table. Not even golden food, regular flavored food, made of food and not gold. But that can't be helping his approval ratings. You know, tearing the White House down physically while putting gold stickers everywhere, while the government was shut down and while people are having a hard time coming the holidays paying for stuff. Republicans in vulnerable seats are trying to panic. They're not trying. They're starting. They are panicking.
The affordability issue that's received a great deal of media attention this past week, which is ironic because it didn't receive that much attention when Joe Biden was here and inflation was at a record high 9%, the worst inflation crisis in modern American history. And President Trump won a landslide election in part to address the affordability issues created by Joe Biden and the Democrats. And that's exactly what President Trump has done since day one of his administration. Since the first day in office and every day since, the Trump administration has taken aggressive action to fix the Biden-created cost of living issues. The notion that the same Democrats who just shut down the federal government to sabotage our economy, rob people of their paychecks, and also helped Joe Biden ratchet up inflation to 9% are now suddenly affordability champions. That notion is completely absurd. And it's something only the liberal media would have the gall to push. But the reality is that President Trump and his administration have done so much to lower prices and increase the economic prosperity of the American people. And this president and his team of amazing economic advisors are going to keep working on this issue every single day.
It's just weird that everybody's worried about affordability now, but weren't while Biden was president. I mean, this is like literally having the country's communication officer be a child being like, but how come you didn't punish him? Why are you punishing me? You're the president now. You're the administration now. You're the one that has to deal with the current economy. The other people were voted out of office, the other party, and so now it's on you. Is that not understood at all?
Just take a look here. This is Gallup. This is the longest running poll. You know, Gallup has been conducting polls since my father was a kid, and my father was born in 1927, had me in the 60s. Look at this in January. Donald Trump's not approving. Not too bad, not too great. It was at -1 point, right within the margin of error, breaking even. But look at this now. Negative 24 points, way, way down. We're talking about a drop of over 20 points in the wrong direction for the President of the United States. Minus 24 points, that's a 23-point move in the incorrect direction if you're the president. And of course, what's so important here, Sarah Seidner, is it matches the trend that we've seen with other polls. That is Donald Trump hitting his low for the second term. I was doing the count last night. I think we're up to 10 polls in sort of the last 40 days, 10 different pollsters who have said that Trump is at the lowest point he is in his second term.
So how does this compare to other presidents in their second term at this point in time?
Yeah, okay. So, this is one of these great examples where I kind of run out of room on the slide.
You
so
sure
I just
did.
Yeah, I run out of room on the slide. So I just put up the Republican presidents. But look, the only one who's worse for me, either among Republicans or Democrats at this point in his second term, is Richard Nixon. And of course, Richard Nixon had to wave adios amigos goodbye less than a year after this poll was taken. He was at minus 36 points. Trump at minus 24 points. That beats, or is worse, I should say, beats in the wrong direction. George W. Bush, minus 19 points. His Republican Party, of course, suffered major losses in the 2006 midterm elections. Dwight Eisenhower, plus 31 points. Donald Trump has never smelt that at all. I had to go into the archives to dig up that photo. And Ronald Reagan at plus 41 points. But again, it also is worse than Harry S. Truman. It's worse than Lyndon Baines Johnson. It's worse than Barack Obama. It's worse than Bill Clinton. Anywhere you look, this is the second worst for a president of either party at this point in their second term, dating all the way back since the 1940s.
Yeah, I mean, it is a disaster. It's a disaster for Trump in the polls. It's a disaster for Trump in every metric, pretty much. But compare it to other recent Republican presidents. He's doing probably pretty good, right? Think again.
Our latest CBS News poll, 68% of Americans said they believe that President Trump's policies are pushing grocery prices up. They're up about 1.4% year to date. And economic sentiment, the number of people who think the economy is good, has actually dropped 6 points since he took office. How do you explain that?
Well, first of all, you mentioned quite accurately the 1.4% increase in grocery prices. I think the interesting thing about that is that that's way below the Fed's target of 2% for everything else, right? And so you'd have to concede that 1.4% is very, very low inflation. And so I think that the bottom line is that we've got the big, beautiful bill cutting taxes on overtime, taxes for tips and so on. And all that money is going to start to be in people's pockets. So that's why they're optimistic about next year.
And how's it doing at least for like children's toys coming up for the holidays?
Maker of Tonka trucks said a couple days ago that a toy truck that cost $30 last year is going to cost $40 this year, partly because they lost about 8 weeks of shipping due to the U.S. trade war with China. What's your advice to holiday shoppers who don't want to spend more this year than they did last year or can't afford to spend more?
Right. Well, as you know, it depends on what you're looking at. Like egg prices are down, gasoline prices drop below $2 a gallon in a lot of places.
You mean
mortgage
below?
rates are down.
Gas prices on average are still at $3 a gallon.
Yeah, that's right.
Country,
For
right?
a few states, they got below $2. And so the point is just that in the end, what matters is in the aggregate, the average across everything that everybody buys.
Okay, that's the last straw. You can't affect the price of Tonka trucks. You can't put any more weight on the Tonka like it's a badonka donk. You can't do it. Tonka needs to be lower prices, not raising up by about 25, 33% increase in the price of a Tonka truck. Donald Trump assured his wealthy donors that his presidency would serve their interests, and the good news for them is that it has. Massive tax cuts for the rich have been funded by slashing, just little stuff like vital services. Just stuff we kind of don't even need that much, like infrastructure, the way we get around and survive in this country. Sure, that's hurt the most vulnerable while padding the pockets of billionaires, but billionaires' pockets, we're getting thin. They need extra material, extra cloth in there. So I'm fine with it. As skyrocketing premiums are set to make healthcare unaffordable for millions, Democrats, here's an idea for you guys. Push for a plan that not only alleviates suffering and saves lives in the short term, but offers maybe sustainable, hopeful vision for the future. Maybe you could abandon your corporate lobbyists as well, your think tanks and your consultants, and just listen to the people that you're representing. Give people a real reason to vote for you. That might be an idea because, yes, it's true, you are better on policy than the Republicans for the average American. But you don't fight hard for it, and you're still pretty corrupt as well. So if you really want the difference to be stark. You got to be starker. You got to be starkerific. You got to be John Stark. I didn't watch Game of Thrones really that much, but is he a guy that makes this analogy work? If not, then use a different one. I'm Ben Gleib for Rebel HQ. You can follow me at Ben Gleib on Instagram for loads more.